So we will start session. We had left at Uddhava's discussions actually. Vidura meets Uddhava, and Uddhava brings memories of Krishna. Uddhava is a close, as we discussed, is relative of Krishna, cousin only, but he is different from other Yadus. Yadu Vamshadalli ಇದ್ದಂತ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗಿಂತ he was different. So he was a very, very ardent devotee of Krishna, and he keeps remembering when Vidura asks, everything is okay at Dwarka, you are coming from there. Did you meet Krishna? How is he? How is Ugrasena? How is Devaki? How are the other Yadus? Everybody, Balarama, everybody, he asks about them. And Uddhava narrates. That's what we have seen. Uddhava, Vidura also knows about Krishna's childhood, all sports, everything, but sport. But Uddhava cannot stop telling about Krishna, because that is how a true devotee actually becomes excited the minute you ask. And they keep telling again and again, again and again. They don't tirelessly, they keep narrating Lord Krishna's glories. That gives them some kind of, so much of ecstasy, I should say. They become ecstatic. They become so excited to tell that even though they would have told n number of times repeatedly, still they want to keep telling. So similar thing happens with Uddhava. So he tells about what happened during his childhood, how he killed Shishupala, how he got that Parijata Vriksha, everything though it is well known, Uddhava narrates, and the Bhagavad Puranics also are narrating the same thing. It's all documented that way, as it is. So if you remember, we are talking about Bhagavad Purana, which is being narrated by the Suta Puranika to Shaunaka and other rishis in Naimisharanya. Suta Puranika is narrating this Bhagavad Purana, which he has heard when Shuka has narrated this to Parikshit. Parikshit is the last king of Kuru Vamsha, and when he was, if you remember the story, when he was going for hunting, he gets cursed by a sage, and because of that, he has to live only, he is cursed, saying that you live only for the next 7 days. And in order to make the best use of those 7 days, he starts doing penance or tapas on the bank of Yamuna. And at that point of time, what happens is there comes, all the rishis come there to bless him. And in the same group, following them comes Shuka, who is son of sage Vedavyasa, very well-known sage, very knowledgeable sage. So he now says, I have come here. He is the greatest sage, and because of Parikshit's legacy, his father, forefather, everybody is very well known. And well known means not only in terms of their bravery, in terms of their nature, their behavior, their kind-heartedness, their compassionate behavior, and they live for truth. So therefore, those Pandavas and their clan was very well respected. Because of that, Shuka comes there and he narrates. So this is part of narration between Shuka and Parikshit. So in that again, he says how he is telling that story, how Vidura meets Uddhava. Now, Uddhava has told some part of the, he has narrated few aspects of Krishna. He continues in chapter 3, Skanda 3. So, he continues with Krishna's life. So, he says, Uddhava says to Vidura, you know very well that Krishna went to Mathura with Balarama, and he learnt Vedas and all those, he got all the knowledge, all the training of his, during his brahmacharya and during his student days from Sandipani. And then he continues that Satyabhama, he married Rukmini, Satyabhama, and he goes to help Indra to conquer over Narakasura. And in that he gets 16,000 women who are captivated by Narakasura, and then he brings all of them, and everybody wants to be part of his, be as their wives, and he agrees, and he gets married to all of them, and So each wife, it seems he has got 10 sons from each wife. That is how the Yadu Vamsha becomes a very big clan, And then he wants to reduce the burden on earth. So he sees that Kauravas are destroyed because of this Kurukshetra, because they were not living a truthful life. And after that, he now knows that Yadu Vamsha also has to come to an end, because they were also not very pious people, very compassionate people. So he resolves, sankalpa ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು, that now it's time. See, because after that he enjoys in Dwaraka. What the history scripture says is Krishna enjoyed the life of a king, life of a householder. He has manifested each and every quality which is required by an ideal person living on this earth. Ideal person, everything he has manifested. He has killed those suras even when he was a child, Putana, Trinivarta, all those people, Bakasura, because he had to relieve them, he had to liberate them. And then he behaved like a good son. Then he behaved like a good student with Sandipani. And he helped like a friend to Arjuna, friend, philosopher, and guide. And then he comes back to Dwaraka to assume the position of a head of that kingdom. And he has enjoyed everything. Now he wants to wind up. Now he says, it's time for me to go. I have done whatever I had to do for this in this avatar. And therefore, now I think it's time and I should leave this place. So saying, he makes a resolution that now it should commence. What should commence? The end of Yadu clan. And the end of Yadu Vamsha. Yadu Vamsha mugibettu, everything. Because see, very ironically, Krishna himself is such a perfect, uh, uh, you know, you can call him perfect human being first, because we have seen him as a human being. He is the Parabrahma himself. He has manifested all this. But if from an ordinary angle, if you see, there was a big difference between his behavior and the Yadus who were born to him. This was created by him only, by his Yoga Maya. It was destined. But for an ordinary person, one can understand, one can think why such bad children were born to Krishna, such bad children. But that is how we observe in many situations. Just because the parent is very good, the children need not be good. In fact, Angi Raja, there is one more story in Bhagavata. Angi Raja, he has a very worst son, and he asks some sages, why my son is like Angiraja was a very well known, so much of good things he used to do, and tapascharya he used to do, and he was he was realizing he was into spiritual practices, though he was a king. So he asks the sages. The sages say, he asks them, why did I get such a bad son? So the sages tell him that because of them, with every bad act of your son, you are going more and more nearer to the divinity. So that means any adversities, when children become so bad and, deviated from the normal, they become very, committing so many mistakes or sins. You observe that, but you can't do anything. In such cases, again, you sit before God and you get elevated. So the sages, these gurus tell him, this is a reason. So coming to Krishna's, this one, now end has come. So how does it come? So once in the Kurukshetra, uh, everything has happened as per Krishna. Gandhari curses Krishna. Just like you have killed all my 100 sons, I curse you that your children also should die in a similar way in one go. At a time, you should see the death of your sons. Krishna smiles internally and he says, okay, it had to happen. And this is my own doing. That means his own resolution action. But now he has decided, now the time has come. So the curse was there. Another curse was there when Yadus, last time Suvarchala mentioned about Samba. So Samba actually doesn't become pregnant, but what happens is all these Yadus, no, they're very immature, childish. Uh, Maturity is far away, no wisdom, nothing. You cannot compare them to Krishna at all. So what happens is these Yadus, there are different, Yadus, Bhojas, Vrishnis, because they are all born to different mothers and their clans probably it's named that way. So they are all playing tricks and some mischief they are doing. Grown-ups, they see some sages sitting under the tree and discussing something very serious. All these Yadus, they make Samba become, they stuff some cloth or something, make him look like a pregnant woman. So they make this prank. They take him to the sages and say, uh, Guruji, now this lady has become pregnant. Can you tell whether it's going to be boy or girl? What is the future of this pregnancy? So these Gurujis know about these Yadu people. They are very well aware about their pranks and other things. Durvasa was there, says Durvasa. He curses them. Let there be an iron club, an iron gada inside, in his or her abdomen, stomach. So these people become suddenly scared, and then they see that there is literally an iron rod, big one, in the cloth which they had tied. Immediately they take it to Ugrasena, is still there. Ugrasena becomes very upset. So he knows that this is the curse of the rishis, and then he tells them to powder it. So they powder it and throw it in the sea, and everything is okay. But one small piece of iron is swallowed by a fish, and a hunter gets that fish and he makes an arrow, tip of the arrow with that iron. Now, what happens to that we shall see later. So, this is how the Yadu Vamsha, Yadu children get cursed by Sage Durvasa, and also Gandhari has cursed that this is how your clan is going to be totally, smashed. Now Krishna takes this is the time now to make this happen now. I have to take a stand. So he resolves. Once he resolves, then it should happen. So all these Yadus, now one day they have gone to Prabhasa. There is a place called Prabhasa. So there they go and they have take bath. They normally follow all the rituals. So they take their bath and they are relaxing, and then they offer it to sun god, and then they give charity to brahmanas. All that they have done as per the norms of the kshatriya or yadavas, whatever was they were supposed to do. But as it gets dark, then they get intoxicated. They take alcohol, and it becomes they kind of over drink, over intoxicated. So when a person becomes so much intoxicated, then he loses his senses, isn't it? Ideally, they shouldn't have done that, but they were used to that. They were always used to, it seems they used to misuse the women of the clan also. They had all bad qualities at that time. That was speaking about the decline of the virtues of that time. Already there were signals, there were so many events that used to happen in Dwaraka. People used to come and complain. These people were going, it had reached its heights actually at that time. So now they're all cousins and uncles and all that. But without, giving respect or something, they start fighting with each other, and they start fighting so much that they, actually kill each other. So like that, it starts. Krishna will come to know about it. He is not there with them. Then he is on the bank of river Saraswati there. So he senses that the event has started. So Uddhava is narrating all this. He goes to the river. He takes bath. Now he's preparing for his departure. He's preparing for his departure. So Uddhava becomes very emotional when he tells that. He observes that Krishna has gone to this thing, and he takes his bath, he comes back, and he sits there under the banyan tree, leaning against the banyan tree, and he tells Uddhava, now you go to Badrikashram. You go to Badrikashram. Uddhava is also Yaduvamshi. Uddhava is also Yaduvamshi. Krishna tells him, you go to Badrikashram, I will rest. Uddhava now very well knows that Krishna has decided to leave this world, and unable to bear that, he actually goes near him, and he gets a beautiful darshan of Krishna. Bluish in his body starts showing a bluish tinge, which was always there. But Uddhava, being a very, very close devotee, very closest, day and night, every second, Uddhava used to chant his name or remember him. If you remember, last time we mentioned that during his childhood, he used to be so much engrossed, even at the age of 5 to 6 years. He used to be so much engrossed in doing worshipping Krishna that his mother used to scold him, "Come and have your breakfast." Not bothered about breakfast, not bothered about lunch. Even in his childhood days, he used to enjoy worshipping Krishna. So, uh, Krishna at that time, Maitreya also comes there. And Uddhava says, I was watching Krishna sitting under the banyan tree with his left leg crossed on the right leg. I had that image actually. I have given it for framing today. In Kotirtana, Krishna on the on one under the tree, and he sits with his left leg on the right leg and leaning against the tree, and with a nice smile, very pleasant. And now Uddhava knows that it's time he's going to leave me. So he says, Uddhava, Krishna tells Uddhava, I know what is in your mind, and you have worshipped me with lot of tapas in your previous birth as Vasu. Uh, and now you are born as a great Yadava. And in this birth also, you have my grace because you are seeing me in isolation. I am with nobody now. All my people are in the palace. I am alone, and I am in the highest state of Atman. He is born as a human being now, isn't it? So he also should sit for tapas now. So you are seeing me in this exalted state alone, and this itself speaks of my grace to you. You have been blessed because of your extraordinary tapas which you have done in your previous birth as Vasu. Vasus means these are group of deities associated with fire and light. Along with Prajapati, they are created. So Vasus means Aap, Dhruva, Soma, Dhara, Anala, Anila, Surya, Prabhasha. These are all called as the 8 Vasus. Aap means water, deity, Devata, related to water. Dhruva, pole star. Soma, moon, Devata. Dhara, Prithvi. Anala is fire, Agni. And Anila is Vayu, Surya. And Prabhasha is sky. So you are one of them. You have done lot of tapas, and therefore I bless you. And in the Padma Kalpa, I have narrated when I created Brahman. I hope all of you remember how Brahma was created uh, as his own manifestation. From his navel comes a lotus, and then Brahma becomes a very, not knowing what to do. Then he hears from the cosmic waters, tapas, 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 and he continues to do tapas for several years. And how Vishnu comes in front of him, and he says, "You are blessed because I have made you do this tapas." And he narrates Bhagavad Purana, means what is going to happen in future. That is what Vishnu has told Brahma. And now the same Krishna is telling with Uddhava, I am going to narrate this to you. And Uddhava accepts. And then he says, after that, I bowed down before him. I heard him. Maitreya also hears that. I bowed down before him, and I circumambulated the Pradakshina Haki. Then I came this side. I could not bear the misery of separating myself from Krishna. Uddhava ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಎಮೋಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ he is narrating to Vidura. Vidura now comes to know that Krishna is no more. So because Krishna has told Uddhava that you go now, and I am going to leave this body. How he has left this body, again it comes in chapter 11. So now Vidura comes to know, and ಅವನ್ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ tears start flowing so much, because Vidura is also an ardent devotee of Krishna, and he survived only because Krishna was there in that time. Otherwise, and Pandavas, of course. Though he was loyal to Kauravas, you remember, Vidura leaves Hastinapura and he goes on a pilgrimage, and he is not there during the war because Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana would have spoken very bad. And then he tries to convince them. They don't get convinced. Then he says, "This is all Maya," and then just he goes. So now Vidura asked Uddhava, "Ayyo, ishtond ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ? So much has happened. It is so difficult for all of us to bear the separation. This feeling of separation is really not bearable. Can you tell me that Bhagavad Purana to me?" Now see another instance where Bhagavata is being told to Vidura, but not by Uddhava. So Uddhava says specifically that Krishna asked Maitreya to narrate that to you, who was there. Maitreya had come. Maitreya is a Rishi who is close friend of Veda Vyasa. And so he says, Krishna specifically said, Uddhava, you go to Badrikashrama and let Maitreya teach this to Vidura. So Vidura was not there at that time when Krishna left this body. Only Maitreya and Uddhava were there. And still Krishna remembers Vidura. So look at this. Krishna will never forget a devotee. So we may not be there physically. They were not there physically. But he recollects and he remembers that Vidura must be told this Bhagavad Purana, whatever. Bhagavad means it is documented now, but it has been told by Krishna again to Maitreya. And Maitreya has been asked to tell this to Vidura. So Vidura says, Uddhava says, I cannot do this. And he will spend the night on the banks of Yamuna with Vidura. Both of them grief-stricken. Both of them are devotees. Imagine if you have seen Krishna, if somebody is around you day in and day night, and you know that he is a God himself, and you have seen him, you have interacted with him, you have got his love, and all of a sudden you realize that he is not going to stay with you. What could be your, because that is the thing which you are attached, most attached. You are most attached to that person, and that person is leaving the body now. It is not an ordinary person. So both of them are so grief-stricken that they, silently they sleep, and then next comes Vidura and Maitreya. In the meanwhile, now this conversation is being told by Shuka to Parikshit. So Parikshit asks, when all the Vrishnis and Bhojas were perished, why did Lord save Uddhava? Uddhava is also Vrishni, Yaduvamshi. How did when Krishna wanted to demolish or finish this clan of Yadus, why did he spare Uddhava? So Shuka says, yes, that's a very good question. Uddhava is also, but Uddhava was totally different from other Yadus. Uddhava was totally different. None of the Yadus were as devoted to Krishna as Uddhava. From the childhood, from his previous birth, Uddhava was a part of Krishna. So, in fact, Krishna would have thought, he says, that he is no less than me. He is no less than me. Uddhava has controlled all his senses, Indriya Nigraha. Because of that, he is able to, get attached to me so much. If he was also a king, if he was like other Yadus, he would have enjoyed the women. In fact, Yadus used to enjoy other women. So they were that bad. They had got spoiled rather. So Uddhava never did that. Rather, throughout his life, he was devoted to me and he was devoted to him. Shuka is saying, Uddhava was devoted to Krishna. Now he says very clearly, he was not perturbed by the objects of the senses. Andre, no distraction, no worldliness in him. Totally, it was divinity. Always Krishna, always Krishna. So that being the case, Krishna considered him as part of him itself. And he wanted to rather preserve him than slaying all the Yadus, because he thought he will continue to spread spirituality preach for others also in Badrikashrama. Therefore, he has saved him. Now, that continuing, he says, now Vidura heard how Krishna gave up his body, which did so many things in life. Vidura now contemplates. Krishna is a role model for all of us. When he was a child, he was the best beautiful child with all his pranks of stealing the butter, entertaining the women there in Gokula and Brindavan. The place he was born was Mathura, but he was taken to Gokula because of Kamsa's threat. So in Gokula and Brindavana, how much he has entertained those people, how they were so amused. And just like Uddhava, there is another conversation between Gopika and Uddhava. We have heard that before also. So Gopika and Gopis and Gopikas, they were all so much attached to him. And he became like, he was most wanted child, most wanted, most appreciated child, most, everybody longed to make his friendship. So that being the case, so Krishna was like that. Then he killed the Asuras. Then he enjoyed in Mathura with Balarama, with friends, and he played the flute. And then he got married, and it seems he enjoyed the physical relationship also with so many women. So that was the how he behaved as a householder, and then he became a very good king. And during that also he had so many threats, but totally unperturbed. And now he is leaving his body without any disturbance, with a very calm state of mind. No, we may say that he is Parabrahma, so he knows everything, but he had taken the human body, and there are statements which say, not in this Bhagavad, I have read that when a God takes a human body, he also has a lot of emotions, because by Yoga Maya, his body is also like ours only, Yoga Maya. No doubt, he has everything in his mind, resolution, everything, but he has those emotions. He also cried, he also wept, he also laughed, he also had anger, all the emotions he had. But when it was a time for him, he realized, I have done everything now. And that pleasantness on his face, that smile on his face, that calmness on his face was so good. Uh, Vidura starts contemplating on that, as told by Uddhava. So he said, how can a person who has done so much be so detached and then just leave the body? This is a great example for all of us, that when we accomplish everything, whatever we have done, and when we feel that it's enough now, let me break. And break means go to some other, or let me finish. No, I'm done. There's no need for me to stay here. At that point of time, we also need to be that much of that much detached, so that, I mean, there are ways to have Icha Marana. Krishna doesn't die by Icha Marana. There's another reason. Of course, he had Icha Marana, but there's a different description. So he says the mind of a man. So he feels very great, and then he leaves that place and goes to Ganga, goes bank of Ganga, where Maitreya is there, and then he goes down before him and asks many questions. If you remember, we had discussed Parikshit's 20 questions. I am not going to go in detail of those questions because they are similar. Because whenever it is narrated, no, Brahma to Narada, and Parikshit to Shuka, Shaunaka to Suta. So similar questions are there. So let's not, they're all overlapping. So he goes down to Maitreya Rishi and he says, Guruji, I am indeed blessed that Lord Krishna remembered me at the end of his life, and he has asked me to come to you. And please, I bow down and I request you to narrate the Bhagavad, which has been told by Krishna to you. And during that, he says, the mind of a man who hears or reads about glories of the Lord will slowly cease to have the attachment. So Vidura knows that he is detached. Vidura is definitely, because he is Yama reborn actually. But still, being in the human body, attachments tend to come because of Maya. So he says, but if a person reads or hears the glories, then uh, it will slowly uh, slowly it ceases to have the attachment. I feel so sorry for people who do not have such opportunity. Andre Vidura is talking about, he is telling very clearly that people like you and I, again I'm saying, we are indeed graced because we have this opportunity to listen to the glories or to read about his glories. And he says, I feel sorry for those who do not have this opportunity. And beautifully he says, who are the people who don't have opportunity? These are the people who are, one is not graced, but it is their karma which is not allowing them to come and listen to this or to make an effort. I mean, I'm not talking about this class or something, but there are people who don't believe in the existence of superconscious or Parabrahma. There are people who believe Kayakave Kailasa, correct? Kayakave Kailasa. But Kailasa should be thought. Work is worship means you should believe in worship. You cannot escape worship and say, I'm doing work so that no. Unless we think about God and do our work, then it does, until then it doesn't become a worship. So we should not say and escape thinking or reading or listening about glories of God, saying we are all very busy, we are working. No, we should always, we can at least think. You need not listen, you can keep thinking about God throughout the day. So, but that comes only when a person actually becomes aware, mostly because of ignorance, because of the ego, because of the samskar, so many reasons a person is not inclined to listen about the glories. If you remember, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, Bhagavad Gita says, thousands of people are there. Among them, very few in the Jnana Vijnana Yoga we discussed in our previous session, very few among so many thousands or millions of people. Sahasra is not actually thousand. He intends to say so many people. Very few will develop the inclination. Among those who develop inclination, very few attain the spiritual sadhana, siddhi. And among those who attain that siddhi, handful of people will actually understand who I am. Anta Krishna, Arjuna ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. In reality, who I am not this body, this Krishna, this Sakara. No, actually, I have a different manifestation. So now, Vidura, those who are inclined towards God, those who love God, are always curious to listen to Him or to read about Him, whatever comes. So, this opportunity is very rare, and lifespan of such people, Vidura, these are Vidura's words. He says, I feel very bad that they lose their lifespan. Entire life goes only in worldly affairs. Entire life goes only in worldly affairs. And he will ask Maitreya. Before this, no, I did not say. When Vidura gets to know, I didn't tell this. This is a very important statement actually. Um, he becomes very emotional when he hears about so Vidura becomes very, very grief stricken when he hears, and actually they have described like this, 35th shloka. Vidura cries aloud in paroxysm of divine love. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೌಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅದು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಂತೆ. ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಚ ಕುರುಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಕೃಷ್ಣೇನ ಮನಸೇಕ್ಷಿತಂ ಧ್ಯಾಯನ್ ಗತೆ ಭಾಗವತೆ ರುರೋಧ ಪ್ರೇಮ ವಿಹ್ವಲ. ರುರೋಧ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹತ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನಂತ ಅವನು ವಿದುರ. ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಹಿ talks to Maitreya, he cries in a very, that he cannot control that separation. He cannot control that separation. So this is very important. I wanted to emphasize on that, because Uddhava and Vidura, such a great devotees, we must have lot of love and affection for them, because when we remember these people, those vibes come to us, and then it helps us to build the similar connectivity, similar love to God. That viraha vedane antarala, separation, the pain of separation is extremely, that also is a grace of God, because there is lot of bhakti in that, and there is lot of love in that. So uh, sing one Meera bhajan, because Meera also cries out of viraha in the end when she is not able to get his darshan. So that is very beautiful song. Kenu Sanga Kenu Holi, Piya Tyaja Gaye Hai Akeli, Kenu Sanga Kenu Holi ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. You might have ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೇಕಿದೆ ಹಾಡನ್ನು. So ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮೈತ್ರೇಯ now starts giving jnana. Bhagavata, we must again, as I told you, it is both story and jnana. So certain things are overlapping, and those I am going to just skip because we have already discussed creation and all that. Now he asks, what is time? Kala andre. This is a very unique thing. It requires really, really lot of wisdom to talk about kala. But whatever is given here, I'll try to explain what I have understood and have heard. So kala is time, isn't it? Time. He asks, what is time? So time is limitless when it is on its own. There is no beginning. There is no end. Why do we call time? That is the property of that time. That is the attribute of time. Just like Parabrahma, no? It doesn't have a beginning or end. So it is called Apratishtitaha and Nirvishesha. It has no modification and no beginning or end. When everything is still. But when the Lord wills or Ichha Shakti Sankalpa to create happens, we have seen how Mahattattva and all come. At that time, the time gets defined. This is a beginning, this is the end. Otherwise, just listen to this very carefully. Existence as such, before the creation, nothing was there. Shunya. Everything is Parabrahman. Everything is still. Time is also still. But when the God wills to create, then there is shaking, and that tilt disturbs the balance of sattva, rajas, tamas. That's how Mahattattva, Prakriti, Maya comes into existence, and the Lord assumes the Maya and starts Srishti, Sthiti, and Laya. That means creation, sustenance, and dissolution. You ಮೂರನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ time, ಕಾಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆವಾಗ they start describing. Next session, we are going to talk about the definitions of this. What is Manvantara? What is Kalpa? What is Yuga? What is Brahma Varsha? All that time comes when the creation starts. So that is, as of now, what is time. And now, little bit about creation, we will revise, and then we can wind up for the session. So he says, the Sarga is Mahattattva and all that. So the ninefold forms of Visarga. Visarga means secondary creation. Sarga is first, his will, appearance. And appearance is will to create. Now, ninefold forms. So I am not going in detail, as I said, I'm condensing because every narration has this description. Slightly here and there differences are there, but in the way they have told. But creation doesn't vary, isn't it? Everything is the same truth. So 9 forms of Visarga, what are those? Mahattattva, we told Mahattattva is stirred by the divine will. It is a potential. Then comes Ahankara. Ahankara is I sense, individualistic, which varies in which transforms into Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Second, first one is Mahattattva, ninefold form of Visarga. Second one is formation of Ahankara. Formation and manifestation, not newly created. They just convert themselves. Mahattattva has all the capability. Now it transforms itself into Ahankara. From there come the Tanmatras. Tanmatras or Bhuta Sukshmas. Tanmatras are object of senses. Sound, sight, feel. All these are concepts, they come. Then 5 organs of knowledge and 5 organs of action. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya. Idadmele, then mind is created with the presiding deities of organs from the Sattvika portion of these Tanmatras. No, Sattvika portion of that mind comes, and the deities. Who are those deities? We have seen Surya, Digdevata, Ashwini, Agni, Prajapati, Indra, Yama, Vishnu. All these are presiding Abhimani Devatas for these Indriyas. All these Indriyas are supported by energy. Those energies are depicted as Abhimani Devata. Each Devata is given one area. Vishnu for the feet. Adke ನೀವು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ Vishnu is Abhimani Devate for the feet. Indra is a Abhimani Devate for the hand, actions, right? Doing something. And Surya is for the eyes. Adke you have to see early morning, sunrise. Uh, so that the Surya, the blessings of Lord Aditya, we offer no Arghya in the morning to Lord Surya. So Surya is very, very important. So like that, the Abhimani Devatas were created in the fifth form. And then sixth one, very interesting, is Avidya. Mind is created from Sattvic. Then Lord has created ignorance. So this overpowers all the mind. And now it is a independent, every person has to fight against this avidya. So these are all prakruta. Next three are vaikruta. Vaikruta are three sets. One is the plants, one is the animals, and another one is the human. Plants, he says there are 6 sets of plants and different types. Plants with fruits, plant which give fruits without flowers, with flowers, creepers, bamboos, trees, like that here they have described. Animals, he says, there are 28 species of animals on the earth, and 28 species, probably birds, which fly in the air. 28 species he has created. Can you beat this 28 species? We are not aware of those actually. And then they keep on describing these are horizontal, and the food travels in this way, and some have single horns, some have 2 horns, like that the description goes. Last comes the human being. So human being is the being creature where the food goes downwards. These are rajogunis, while the animals are tamogunis. And plants, they have not given any guna there because they are not so evolved. And these people, the humans, are prone to think. The organism, this creature called human being, is designed to think. So, and then who are the devas, devatas and devas? Who are all those? They are also created. Yes, they are also created. Like us, they are created in the following categories: devas proper, like Indra, Rudra, Varuna, all those. Then Pitrus and Asuras, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Bhutas, Pretas, Pishachas, Siddhas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, uh, Charanas, Vidyadharas, Kinnaras. So these are 10 sets of people. And in all these people, if you remember what we have discussed, Lord himself assumes the position, particularly the human. In all the creation, entire creation, there is his amsha, consciousness, and the prakriti evolves based on the support from this consciousness. Andre, yes, in Bhagavad Gita, they say para prakriti, apara prakriti. Apara prakriti is the inferior expression of all these. Para is that consciousness. Without his presence, none of these will shine, none of these will express, none of these will manifest, whether it is plants, animals, devatas, human beings, everywhere, or whether they are these panchabhutas, there also it is there. But Krishna, Parabrahma will not manifest so much, but he will manifest maximum in mostly human beings and devatas. So this is what is the creation of Visarga. And so next class is again in the session, goes into the definition of time. That is a new thing which has come in this discussion of Maitreya and Vidura. So beautifully, the whole session, today's take-home message is we feel the bliss in the presence, as well as when we miss Lord, when we miss him also, that thought, that viraha, that longingness for Krishna is also an expression of the bhakti, which all the devotees, great devotees, and Dasaru, all of them, and Meera, and all of them have expressed. Gopikas, Uddhava, all these people, no, they have expressed. The parents also, like Yashoda and Nanda, also feel that longingness. So that also Krishna creates that vacuum. He creates that vacuum, and in that, during that process of longing, our spiritual evolution actually it goes higher and higher, because all the time we are thinking. that I should get his darshan, I should meet him, I should speak to him. Realization comes later, but first we want to actually visualize. Same thing happened with Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa also. If you remember his life history, how he used to, the minute he was told that Kali Mata, you have to become the pujari and you have to worship. Why should I worship if I don't see her? Then people make fun of him. Then he starts craving, I must, when are you going to come and show me? When are you going to show? And he becomes so passionate about it that he breaks his head to the wall and it starts bleeding. Ordinary people cannot conceptualize, they cannot imagine what it is because they're unaware. So they consider him as a mad person. And indeed, he was a mad person because he was mad after Kali Mata Darshan. And literally, she appears before him. So if anybody wants to be, I mean, if we are so much, in Bhakti Bhav and if we want to see, then definitely it's going to get manifested. So there I stop. I will just sing one Meera Bhajan, which expresses this longing, how she used to, sit for hours together. Mirabai was born to royal family actually, and she gets married. She was so beautiful that her husband comes and proposes. Though when she's a kid, she's given, with whom shall I play? She will ask her mom. Her mom says, keep this Krishna with you. So that Krishna idol becomes her friend. She keeps talking to him and she spends a lot of time with him. She's so much engrossed. She's not really willing to get married, but somehow she gets married. And you know the story, how her husband initially, he doesn't realize what it is. So he troubles her so much. And then only in the end, he comes to know that no, this is a genuine bhakti. And he gives her freedom. And then she sits in the temple for hours together, asking Krishna that you should come, you should show, you should take me with you. So one of the songs. Kenu Sanga, Kenu Kelu Holi, Kenu Sanga, Kelu Holi, पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली, केनु संग खेलू होली, पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली, केनु संग खेलू होली, पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली, केनु संग केनु होली, मानिक मोती सब हम छोड़े, मानिक मोती सब हम छोड़े, गले में पहनी सेली, भोजन भवन भलो नहीं लागे, भोजन भवन भयो नहीं लागे, पिया कारण भय रागेली, मुझे दूरी क्यों मेली, पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली, केनु संग खेलू होली, अब तुम प्रीत हमारो सो जोड़ी, हमसे करी क्यों पहेली, अब तुम प्रीत हमारो सो जोड़ी, हमसे करी क्यों पहेली, बहुदीन भी आजा होना लगी रही ताला वेली, केनु दिलमा ये गेली, पिया त्यज गए हैं ಅಕೇಲಿ ಏನು ಸಂಗ ಕೇಳು ಬೋಲಿ श्याम बिना जिया मुरझावे श्याम बिना जिया मुरझावे जैसे जल बिन बेली मीरा को प्रभु दर्शन दीजो मीरा को प्रभु दर्शन दीजो मैं तो जन्म जन्म की चेली दर्श बिना खड़ी दुबेली पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली केनो संग केनो बोली केनो संग खेलो बोली पिया त्यज गए हैं अकेली केनो संग खेलो बोली.
Very nice, ma'am.
Pratibha, very beautiful.
Beautiful, ma'am.
Involved in
That was Meera's Meera Bhajan. So bhala Lata Mangeshkar didu. You all can hear it's. I'll share the original song. Very beautiful.
ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಲತಾ ಮಂಗೇಶ್ಕರ್ ಅವರು.
ಹೌದ್ರಿ ಬಹಳ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಭಾವದಿಂದ ಹೃದಯನಾಥ್ ಮಂಗೇಶ್ಕರ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. So that longing for Krishna is bhakti, another form of bhakti. Longing for Krishna is another form of bhakti. So there we shall conclude. Any additions, suggestions? Indira, anything? Swachala, Kavita? Kavita, anything?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Padmini?
Nothing, ma'am. Beautiful song, ma'am. Very
Thank you. Yeah.
ಅಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಂತು ಹಾಡಿದ್ದು.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ God's grace, but original is very beautiful actually. So that you should listen to that actually. So Archana, anything?
Oh, ma'am, during Krishna's departure, no, at the end, is there anything like Radha appearance at that time?
Which one?
Radha.
No idea. I have no idea. But he actually is killed by a hunter. Yeah, he confuses his toe for some bird. That's how he dies actually. He'll be sleeping like this, and from the other end of the river, from far off, a hunter sees his toe. His toe will be like this, so he sees it as a bird, and then he shoots the arrow, and that's how he gets killed. And he allows Radha's, I don't know. Maybe it may come in future, but somehow Bhagavad so far Radha's is not coming. I don't know. Radha's is not being described much so far.
She is also great devotee of Krishna.
Yes. Yeah. In Krishna Leela it should come, but let us see what will be described later.
This hunter who killed, Krishna, thinking that the toe is a bird.
Yeah.
This hunter was Wali, it seems, in his previous janma.
Was birth?
Previous birth. And he Wali, they fought Krishna Rama idnala modlu.
Correct.
So Rama ಮತ್ತು ವಾಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಯುದ್ಧ ಆಯ್ತು. So Rama killed Wali. So now Wali is hunter. ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಹಂಗೇನೋ ಕೇಳ್ದಂಗ ನಂಗೆ.
Maybe true. And Krishna always fulfills their wishes. So Wali wanted to kill him. So now Krishna gave him an opportunity. Everything is known to him, but he has given opportunity for him. And I think these are also ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು. Even ಈ act ನಿಂದನೂ Wali must have got liberated. We never know. Because any interaction with Krishna is always is grace only. Putani also, they say, no? Putana also, avಳು ವಿಷ ತಂದು ಕುಡಿಸಿರ್ತಾಳೆ, but she enjoys, she had that craving to feed God, it seems. So that's how he has fulfilled all their desires. So anything with Krishna is towards liberation. It appears through this Bhagavad, no? Anything good and bad, both. Shishupala also gets liberation, it seems. Last time we discussed, no, he kills him with his Sudarshan, but he gets absorbed in him. That's what Bhagavad says. He becomes one with him. So anything, any encounter with Krishna is always welcome for him. Anything. Adike Krishna Baidru now, he is happy. We can even scold him, but remember him in any form. ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೀನು ಹಂಗ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತರಾಟೆ ತಗೋಬಹುದು ಅವನ್ನ. Why did you do this to me? And that also is happy, it seems, because you consider me so close that you're fighting with me. So you can take me for granted, but take me in some way you connect with me. That is not too much to be asked, but it's not easy, because only when people have that inclination, no, I told you last time, we are really blessed. We are really blessed to have an opportunity to, think about God and then discuss and all that. I'm sure there is a special grace, and more we develop, evolve, more and more grace comes. Like last time Bhagavad Gita, more evolution, more manifestation. Evolution in human form is, we are already evolved physically, as I told. Now we have to evolve mentally. Purity is evolution. More purity we develop, more will be his manifestation. Manifestation means our qualities start getting defined in a divine manner. I mean, divine qualifications will start coming to a person who puts more efforts in the sense spiritual practices, maybe thinking good, thinking about him, that there is no way we can escape. We can say we are doing good deeds. No, without thinking about God, no good deed gets completely qualified to be a pure mind. So you should do good deeds and you should remember him. Those two together will help us to evolve. And that more and more we do such deeds, more and more we think and let go and work on our negative qualities simultaneously. So more he will manifest, more we become divine. And once we start getting the taste of that, we ourselves will start feeling that I should do more. I should try to become more divine. So that is how. And finally, everything becomes divine. Everything finally, with every birth, with every action, we start evolving towards a better thing. So one day, in one of the birth, we get that liberation. Our effort should be towards that direction, towards that goal. All right. So if no other additions, shall we wind up for the day? Yeah. Kayena vacha manasendriyam va buddhyatmana bha prakriti swabhava karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami. Om sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. पापोऽहं पापकर्माहं पापात्मा पापसंभवात् त्राहि मां कृपया देव शरणागतवत्सल. अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम. तस्मात् कारुण्य भावेन रक्ष रमापते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम तत्सत्. श्रीराम कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Keep chanting, keep meditating to get more wisdom. I mean, more wisdom means what happens is, as I told, more it will start revealing actually. When we, apart from this listening and all, now more you meditate and all, you will start understanding better. That is what is the experience, my experience. More you meditate, more you go towards him, more chanting, understanding becomes, oh, Ilandre, it is not so easy to understand all these concepts in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad. So I suggest make meditation and chanting as a routine. 5 minutes, start from 5 minutes. You can increase whenever you have more time. Okay. Thank you. Have a great week ahead, weekend. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Pratibha. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.